Hello students, in this video we will learn the in-text questions of the chapter Force and Laws of Motion. So chapter Force and Laws of Motion, class 9 standard physics. Let's begin the in-text questions. The question number 1, page number 118, NCERT textbook, class 9 standard science. The question number 1 is that which of the following has the more inertia? A rubber ball and a stone of the same size. So what do you think about the inertia of the body? The body having the more inertia if it will have the more mass. It means that inertia is depend on the mass of the body. So even if the same mass is there for the rubber ball and stone, the mass is different. The mass of stone is more compared with the rubber ball, and hence the stone will have the more inertia. So the second, it is given a bicycle and a train. So if we compare the mass of the bicycle and train, we can tell that the train will have such a large mass compared with the bicycle. And here also we compare the bicycle with train by mass, and therefore the train will have the more inertia compared with the bicycle. The third one is a 5 rupees coin and 1 rupee coin, and here also the 5 rupee coin have the more mass compared with the 1 rupee coin. And as we measures the inertia of the body by its mass, so 5 rupee coin will have the more inertia compared with the 1 rupee coin. So mass of an object is a measure of its inertia. And objects with more mass have the more inertia. Let's move to the next question. Question number 2. In the following example, try to identify the number of times the velocity of the ball changes. A football player kicks a football to another player of his team, who kicks the football towards the goal. The goalkeeper of the opposite team collects the football and kicks it towards the player of his own team. Also identify the agent supplying the force in each case. Here we will see that the agent is supplying force. First, the player kicks a ball. And what happens? The velocity of the object or body changes from 0 to u. U means whatever is the velocity of the ball. Now the another player is also there, and another second player kicks the football towards the goal. Suppose the goal is here, and here is a one person that we called as goalkeeper. So the velocity again changes, and this velocity in the when ball kicks towards the goalkeeper, this ball is resisted by the goalkeeper and the velocity becomes 0. Now next one is this goalkeeper kicks it towards the player of his team. So another player may be here, and the ball again kick here towards this team player, and because of that again the velocity change takes place. In this way the force is applied on the object from here, then again from here, and again from here. So first player to the another player, and this second player to the keeper, and then goalkeeper again kicks this ball to his team player. In this way the force is applied on the ball. Also the direction also changes, and its velocity also changes from different position. Next, move to the third question. Explain why some of the leaves may get detached from a tree if we vigorously shake its branch. So here we will see that when the tree's branches is shaken vigorously, the branch obtain motion but the leaves stay at rest. Due to the inertia of rest, the leaves tend to remain in its position and hence detach from the tree to fall down. As we know that body don't want to change its position, either it is a rest position or it is a continuously moving. So as initially the branch is in rest position and even the leaves, but due to the inertia of the leaves and as we apply the force on the branches, because of the inertia, rest inertia, the leaves tend to remain in same position, rest position, and hence it get detached from the tree to fall down. So question number 4. Why do you fall in the forward direction when a moving bus brakes to a stop and fall backwards when it accelerates from rest? Now let's see the first case. When a moving bus and the brakes to a stop, what happens? The bus is moving with a particular velocity and suddenly the driver applies the brakes and moves in backward direction. Now here the conservation of momentum is there. Now we see when a moving bus brakes to a stop, when the bus is moving, our body is also in motion. But due to sudden brakes, the lower part of our body comes straight as soon as the bus stops. But the upper part of our body continues to be in motion and hence we fall in the forward direction due to inertia of the motion. As already discussed in previous example, we know the inertia is the state of rest or in motion. Objects don't want to change its position, either it is a rest position or it is in a particular velocity or it is moving in a particular direction. So here when the bus is moving, whatever the acceleration produced in the bus, the same acceleration is produced in our body in forward direction. And when suddenly brakes to a stop by the driver, our body takes some time to stop, and because of that it moves similarly. For the second case, when the bus is in the rest position, when bus accelerates from rest as we fall backwards, when bus is in stationary, our body is also rest. But when bus accelerates, that time lower part of our body being in contact with the floor of the bus, it comes in motion. But upper body takes some time to in motion. Upper part of our body remains in the rest due to inertia of the rest, and hence we fall in a backward direction. Now let's move to the next question. Page number 126 and 127, NCERT textbook, class 9 standard science. Question 1. If action is always equal to reaction, explain how a horse can pull a cart. If action and reaction are there, then how the force is applied by the horse. The third law states that the action and reaction is there. Action is equal to the reaction, but that action and reaction applies on the different body. In the case of horse, exerts a force on the ground with its feet while walking. The ground also exerts equal and opposite force on the feet of horse, which enables the horse to move in forward and the cart is pulled by the horse. Here the horse the feet of horse apply the force on the ground, and the same amount of force is applied by the ground on the feet of the horse, and because of that the cart is pulled by the horse. Next question, explain why it is difficult for a fireman to hold a hose which ejects a large amount of water at a high velocity. You can see in picture, this is a fireman, it is a holding a hose from this pipe, a large amount of water, it's at high velocity. Now water is ejected out from the hose in forward direction, and as we know that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So due to the water which is coming out from the hose, it is in forward direction with high velocity, the large momentum is produced in forward direction, in this direction. Large momentum is produced in this direction. The equal amount of momentum is developed in backward direction. So equal amount of momentum is developed in the hose in the opposite direction. Hence the hose is pushed backward. So as the conservation of momentum says, whatever momentum will be in forward direction, the same amount of momentum will be in backward direction. So it becomes difficult for a fireman to hold a hose which experiences this large momentum. So the momentum in forward direction will be in the same in backward direction, so that this fireman holds this pipe tightly so that it can balance the momentum which are in backward direction. Next question, a fire from a rifle of mass 4 kg, a bullet of mass 50 gram is fired with an initial velocity 35 meter per second. Calculate the initial recoil velocity of the rifle. Here you will see that the rifle mass is 4 kg and bullet mass is 50 gram. Second, the initial velocity is 35 meter per second. We have to find the recoil velocity of the rifle. As we know the conservation of momentum, that momentum of the rifle must be equal to the momentum of the bullet. Let's see, the mass of rifle is 4 kg, it is M1, and M2 with the mass of the bullet, it is a 50 gram. We have to convert this mass of the bullet which is given in gram into kilogram. So as we know that 50 gram, so 1 kilogram it is equal to 1000 gram. So to convert this gram into kilogram, we can write here this 1000 will come to the denominator, it will become 1 upon 1000 kilogram, it is equal to 1 gram. Now we have to find for the 50 gram, so I will multiply the both sides to the 50, I will get 50 upon 1000 kg is equal to 50 gram. So this 50 upon 1000, this 0 will get cancelled, and 5 divided by 100 will become 0.05 kg. So in this way we can convert the 50 gram of the mass of the bullet into the kilogram, and it will become 0.05 kg. Similarly, the velocity of the bullet, it is a 35 meter per second. Now we have to find the recoil velocity of the rifle. So we use here conservation of momentum. So momentum of rifle will be M1 V1, it is equal to momentum of the bullet, it is M2 V2. The value of M1 V1, here M1 is mass of rifle, it is a 4 kg, velocity V1, that we have to find it. Second, mass of the bullet, it is a 0.05 kg, and mass of the velocity of the bullet, it is a 35 meter per second. Now there is a simple calculation, this 4 is multiplying, it will divide, and this 0.05 will multiply to the 35, it will become 1.75 divided by 4. After dividing 1.75 to the 4, we will get 0.4375 meter per second, and which is nothing but the velocity, recoil velocity of the rifle. So the bullet is fired in forward direction, the same amount of force is applied in backward direction. but the mass of bullet is large compared to the mass of bullet. Because of that, the whatever will be the velocity of the bullet, the same velocity is not possible for the gun or rifle in backward direction. Now the next question, two objects of masses 100 gram and 200 gram are moving along the same line direction with the velocities of 2 meter per second and 1 meter per second respectively. They collide, and after the collision, the first object moves at a velocity of 1.67 meter per second. Determine the velocity of the second object. Now here also we have to use the law of conservation of momentum. Momentum before collision and momentum after collision. Let's see the condition that there are two objects. Here is a one object, another object is here. Suppose this object A, this object B. The first object moving with velocity what? 2 meter per second in forward direction. Now second object is also moving in the same direction with velocity 1 meter per second. Now the object having this 100 gram mass and this will have the 200 gram mass. Of course we have to convert this mass into kilogram. Always mass we are taking in kilogram during the calculation. Now when they collide, the first object and this is the second object, they collide, and the object A and this is object B. So object A moves with 1.67 meters per second. Then what about the velocity of this object B? So here also we have to use the law of conservation of momentum. Momentum before collision must be equal to momentum after the collision. Now let's assume that mass of the first object is 100 gram and that we convert in kilogram, that is 0.1 kg. For second object the mass is 200 gram and that is converted in kg, it will become 0.2 kg. Let the velocity of the object A is u1, it is equal to 2 meter per second, and for the second object its velocity is u2, which is equal to 1 meter per second. So after collision, what will be the velocity of the first object? It is given v1, it is equal to 1.67 meter per second. Now we have to find the velocity of the second object as we consider the v2. Let's use the law of conservation of momentum. Formula of law of conservation of momentum. Momentum before collision is equal to momentum after the collision. m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. Let's put the value of m1, that is 0.1 kg given here. m2 here it is a 0.2 kg. Mass u1 and u2, it is a u1 2 meter per second here. u2 it is a 1 meter per second. Here also m1 0.1, m2 0.2 and v1 given 1.67 here, and v2 that we have to find. Let's do the multiplication. Simply 2 multiplied by 0.1 it will become 0.2, 1 multiplied by 0.2 it will be 0.2. Next 0.1 multiplied by 1.67 that will be 0.167. Only the decimal point will shift of this term 1.67. Plus 0.2 into v2 will be as it is because we don't know the value of v2, and that we have to find from the calculation. 0.2 plus 0.2 will become 0.4, and this 0.167 will move to the left side, it will be minus 0.167. Here we will do the subtraction. 0.4 minus 0.167 0 and this subtraction will be 0.233, and then this dividing 2, so we will get 0.233 divided by 0.2 is approximately 1.165 meter per second, which is nothing but the velocity of the second object. Here I can say that the velocity of second object after collision will be 1.165 meter per second.